Hello everyone, Blaze here again. Last time I was at Canterbury Commons doing the Superhuman Gambit, and at this point I'm at Oasis to do, well, Oasis. They got pretty uncreative with the naming of the quest here, I think. Anyway, it's a little bit tricky to find among all the rocks here, but when you see little sprigs of greenery, you know when you're in the right place. The green making a very nice hint that something is very different about this place compared to the rest of the Capital Wasteland. The rest of the Capital Wasteland, of course, being filled with things that are either dead or trying to kill you. I really like this quest. It's probably one of my favourites yet. Mostly because of the moral greys involved in the choices you can make, but also because it brings back some characters from previous Fallout games, which I think is very interesting.
Outsider, you have arrived. Please, come closer. I have something of the utmost urgency to speak to you about. Do hurry. He doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Incidentally, Three Dog wasn't lying when he said that trees existed.
I'm so glad you're here. It's been a while since anyone's visited us, and he's been waiting for someone like yourself to arrive. If you wouldn't mind following me, I'll bring you right to him.
Just a minute. Who are you and what is this place?
I'm sorry. In my excitement, I got ahead of myself. I'm Tree Father Birch, and I have the great fortune of being leader of his people, the Tree Minders. Beyond that gate is our home, Oasis.
The Tree Minders?
Yes, we're the Tree Minders. We're his people. If you'll just follow me inside, to the pavilion, all will be explained.
Okay, I'll follow you. Lead on.
Excellent. Please, follow me. All will be explained soon.
I find that his instructions are actually a little bit misleading. You don't really have to follow him very far. He actually stops somewhere and then you need to speak to him again because he doesn't initiate dialogue, which left me running around for a few minutes wondering what the hell I was supposed to do. Right away, I'd like to point out how absolutely beautiful this place is, although my opinion may be a little bit skewed by the fact that I've grown tired of the dirt spectrum present in the rest of the Capital Wasteland. And every first-person shooter ever. Anyway, as soon as Tree Father Birch stops, we'll be able to speak to him and continue things along. Although, before that, I would like to point out that little tree thing in the middle. That'll be a little important in a little while.
You have no idea how overjoyed I am to see you. Normally, outsiders are forbidden inside Oasis, but he has made an exception.
I've never seen any place like this.
No, I suppose you haven't. In fact, few who live outside of Oasis have. Everything you see around you, from the tallest tree to the smallest blade of grass, is a gift from him.
The way you're saying him, I could swear you're referring to a god.
He's no mere god, my friend. He is the one who grows, he is the one who gives, and he is the one who guides. Thanks to him, the Tree Minders have a home.
Mere god, he says. Why do you call yourselves Tree Minders?
We care for this place and keep it safe from those who would seek to exploit it. He gives to us, so we give back to him. It's an arrangement that's worked well for almost 2 decades. We shun technology and embrace nature. That's the life of a Tree Minder.
The fact that you shun technology and the fact that the texture work on your chair is really choppy wouldn't have anything to do with each other, would they? If you shun technology, why do you carry weapons?
Sadly, the wasteland is a hostile place, and sometimes we're forced to defend ourselves against it. If that means fighting with manufactured weapons, then so be it. Had he not asked to see you, you never would have gotten this close to the gates.
Well, I suppose that's a fairly pragmatic attitude to take, so I can respect that. Although I really question whether or not you'd have been able to stop me if I really wanted to come in here. I mean, I'm a walking tank, Jesus Christ. Anyway, which brings us to why I'm here, I suppose.
Yes, indeed it does. Sorry, I don't speak to outsiders very often, and I tend to get lost in conversation. As you approached Oasis, he said you were coming, and I was sent out to meet you personally with a request. He wishes to meet with you. You'd be the first outsider to do so in a very long time.
And where can I find this person?
Yes, person. To meet him, you must undergo the ceremony of purification. Once that's complete, you'll be able to speak to him. Whenever you're ready, we may begin.
Just a minute. What does the ceremony involve?
It's simple, really. You drink the sap from the basin here in the pavilion. The sap will purify your mind and body of anything harmful that could possibly hurt him. I assure you, nothing harmful will happen to you.
You say that, but the drifter that you get the reservist rifle from drank the sap because he does have the coordinates to the Oasis and he's batshit insane. Fortunately, we have the almighty plot armor, so we'll be fine. Okay, let's begin the ceremony.
Very good. Take your place in front of the basin and let's begin.
The game doesn't actually...
Rejoice. The Great One wishes to see you.
The game doesn't actually tell you this, but you need to wait until everyone arrives before you can do anything with the basin, and even then it kind of bugs out a little bit, and even after everyone's arrived, sometimes it... yeah, like now. There we go.
We will now recite the blessing to ward off any harm the outsider may be carrying before he proceeds to the grove.
I bid you depart, agents of destruction, through the power of his divine will.
Leave our homes and bodies immediately. Live no longer in them, but pass over into places where you can harm no one.
In the name of his frondescence, I call his wrath upon you, so that wherever you may go, you bear it with you.
And, diminishing from day to day, you may disappear, except where you serve the health and good purposes of mankind. May no trace of you be found.
All this, may he be so good as to grant us, who is to come to judge the living and the dead, and the world by his verdure.
Amen. Soon, you will pass peacefully into sleep, outsider. And when you awake, you will witness his glory firsthand.
Sapling you, the child, actually has part of her quote come from the Apostles' Creed, I believe. The game starts you out at the back of the individual, which can be a little bit confusing, but as you wander around, you start to notice something a little bit off with the tree in the middle. This is Harold. He first appeared in Fallout 1, and the tree is Bob, who first appeared in Fallout 2, growing on top of Harold's head.
Glad to see you're finally awake. I can't believe they made you do that stupid ceremony. They listen when I talk, but they don't hear. You know what I mean?
As cool as it is to see Harold here, there are a couple of problems. 1, the lip sync is off. 2, that eye is just fucking weird looking. 3, some of the transcription along the bottom of the screen doesn't really match quite what he says, which is kind of disappointing. And 4th is a minor one in which the texture work is a little bit obvious sometimes, like obvious seams like there. Anyway, okay, what's the trick? I know there's a guy with a microphone somewhere.
Where? You mean in here? Nah, it's just me and Herbert. He's the tree. We're old pals. The best of buddies. And we know each other. Inside and out. Literally. Well, his name's really Bob. I think it's funny to call him Herbert, but I don't think he thinks it's that funny.
So you're trapped in there, inside this Bob thing?
Well, I suppose you could look at it that way. See, Bob used to ride around on top of my head, sunk his roots right in there, you know. Well, eventually, he got bigger than me, and then I pretty much ended up inside.
How did a tree end up growing out of your head?
It was a long time ago. I tend to lose track. I was exploring some sort of a military base with some other people. I think it was called Mariposa. We were pretty deep inside and we found some weird vats of this nasty green goo. Right when we were about to leave, I think we were attacked. Yeah. Last thing I remember before blacking out was something knocking my friend into the stuff.
As you may have guessed from that, Harold is actually an FEV mutant, a very unique one, and his friend is, well, rather became the Master, the big bad of the first Fallout game. Well, hopefully your troubles will be over. I'm here to help.
You have no idea how glad I am to hear that. Or we're glad to hear that. Me and Bob. I had you brought in here to ask a very simple favor. Would you please kill me?
At this point, it should be painfully obvious why there are so many moral greys in this quest. You want me to kill you? You can't be serious.
Completely serious. You'd be doing me a favor. You see, I've been stuck here for over 2 decades now, rooted right into the ground. The only friends I've got are Bob and those weirdos out there who think I'm a god.
How would I be able to kill you? You're a tree.
How to put this? I've been feeling rather spread out lately. I think Bob's kinda shoved my insides around some. It's hard to tell where everything is, but it's always that way with one's insides, isn't it? Anyway, I believe Bob's carried some of my organs into his root system. I want you to go underground and destroy my heart.
If I kill you, every tree miner will come after me.
Oh, no, don't worry about them. When you decide to go down there, I'll have a little chat with Birch and the rest of the gang. They usually don't understand a word I say, but I'll make them come around.
Why don't you just kill yourself?
Now, how exactly am I supposed to do that? I can barely move anymore. Thanks to Bob, I'm obviously not going to be doing anything for a very long time.
Look, I really don't want to kill you.
Of all the wastelanders I had to bump into, it has to be one with a conscience. Let's keep it an open invitation then. I don't want to wait until the next person visits. It could be years. Just think about it, okay?
Okay. Well, goodbye for now then, Herbert. Or was it Bob?
No. Herbert is the tree. Bob is his real name, but I call him Herbert because I think it's pretty funny. But I'm still in here too. What's left of me? The name's Harold.
Now, ordinarily I would move on right now, but I'm going to speak to him again because he's got some new dialogue options.
Look, Herbert, he's back. I told you.
You're mostly a tree, right? Can't I just burn you down?
Oh, no. fire would be too painful for me and poor old Bob. You keep that stuff away from us. The heart would be just fine, and I won't feel a thing.
Alright, if you say so. I have some quick questions about the caves.
Yeah, I'll leave it to good old Bob to get me stuck above some caves. Now, my dang feet are cold.
How do I get into the caves?
I think the best way for you to get down there would be to get the key from the one those loonies call Cypress. There's supposed to be some old gate or something back in the other grove.
Is there anything down there I should look out for?
Sometimes I feel stuff tickling me, but I think that's just Bob getting back at me for all the times I called him Herbert.
The things that are tickling him are actually Mirelurks, so you're gonna need to keep an eye out for that. I'd like to ask you about something else.
Okay.
You don't actually seem that sad. Why do you want to die?
I've been literally rooted to this spot, thanks to Bob, for maybe 20 or 30 years. I can't even remember anymore. Can you imagine being stuck in one place for that long? Not being able to eat, or to read, or to sleep, or anything? In the meantime, I have these tree minders bothering me every day about things I don't even care about. And I can't stand it anymore!
You know, actually Harold has some of the best voice acting of all the characters I've heard so far. If people thought I was a god, I'd exploit it for all it's worth.
Hey, I thought that too. At first, I had them sing me songs. I made them do stupid dances and things like that. Bob even told me to make Maple stand on his head for a whole day. A whole day! A whole dang day! After a while, though, it just gets boring. Then it becomes a nuisance, and now it's completely driving me nuts! When I saw you coming towards Oasis, I thought I felt that you'd understand me. I guess I was wrong.
Seeing me approach Oasis is quite a feat for a living tree.
Maybe I'm just losing my mind from all this boredom, but I swear if I try, I can see all around me. Like my eyes are in every leaf, on every tree. I think it's making Bob kinda jealous, 'cause he was the first tree in my life, and all that.
It's quite likely that he's not actually going insane. The trees around him are actually connected to Harold because he's the one who's spawning all of them, so maybe there's some kind of psychic connection or something. I don't fucking know. He's a living tree, what do you want? How is it you're causing all these tree things to grow around you?
It's kinda embarrassing, really. Once a year, Bob decides he's gonna go ahead and start growing these weird pods filled with tiny seeds. Well, all it takes is a good wind and the seeds just fly everywhere. I call them Herbert seeds. He hates that.
Which brings the other side of the argument, or one of them, for keeping him alive. Anyway, I have to go now.
See you later. Well, maybe not if you do what I've asked.
Now, at this point, you can burn him down and be an evil bastard, but you need to use either a fire-based weapon or some non-unique plasma weapon. A flamer does just nicely. You know, that was actually the most ghastly scream I've ever heard. Ever. At this point, every member of the Oasis will be hostile towards you, however, so I wouldn't really recommend this course of action. Anyway, moving back out to the main gorge, you can actually continue with the quest. Taking the first left will lead you to the gates to the underground passage. On the way, however, you will see Laurel and Birch having a little bit of a lover's tiff over what to do.
And I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong. Why else would he have called for an outsider's assistance?
The outsider is here to deliver us from our enemies, to keep this place safely locked away from the wasteland, not to exploit us.
How can we preach about peace when all you want to do is keep his gift all to ourselves? That's not what he would want.
If we allow the spread of this miracle to continue, we're putting him in jeopardy. I can't allow that. I won't allow it.
Once again, my husband, we are at an impasse. I suggest we speak to the outsider.
Agreed. Why else would the outsider have been allowed into the grove? Perhaps it's a test. Yes, that must be it. I know why you're here, and despite what my wife thinks, I know you'll do what's best for Oasis. After all, he chose you, and he would never want to put us in harm's way.
I'm afraid Harold isn't a god. He's just a human that had some bad luck.
Oh, he's testing you now, just like he tested us. He wants to see if your faith is strong by spinning these incredible stories. Who else but a god could produce all of this? Don't worry, you'll soon see things as I do.
Yeah, not fucking likely. Did you know your god wants me to kill him?
Yes, I've been pondering that riddle myself for some time now, and I think I know what he's trying to tell us. The Great One's influence is growing, and soon it will break free of the confines of this secluded vale. We can't allow Oasis to call attention to itself like that. It would be the end of him.
Misinterpreting or seeing things that aren't there and things that you view as religious texts. Now, this seems very familiar. Oh well. So what can I do to help?
If the same sap that you drank to purify yourself could be applied to his heart, it should stop the spread. I can promise you no harm would come to him. That's all I ask of you, outsider. Nothing more, nothing less.
At this point, you need to wait an incredibly long fucking time for Laurel to talk to you, making this very dull.
I love Birch, but sometimes I think he doesn't see the big picture. The spreading of his influence is not a curse. It's a great miracle. A benefit meant for the entire wasteland.
Now, I'm going to say right away, I agree with Laurel's viewpoint far more than Birch's. Actually, I don't agree with Birch's viewpoint at all. Doesn't anybody care what your god thinks?
Of course we do. He yearns to share his miracles with the whole world, to give the gift of life back to the dead wasteland. It's upsetting him to no end, but Birch can't see the pain it's causing. But now that you're here, I have a feeling the winds are about to change.
Uh-oh, I see where this is going.
I heard what my husband wanted you to do. What I propose is an alternative. The same person that created the sap also created this liniment. If you can reach his heart, it will assist in making his influence increase. Instead of centuries, the wasteland will become green in mere decades. Just imagine how glorious that would be.
Now, at this point, you could lockpick the gate, or if you're using the PC version, open up the console and cheat your way through. However, to get the key, you need to speak to Cypress.
Branch Tender Cypress at your service. Welcome to our little home.
I'm not sure if he's always here, but it's nice and handy that he's right here anyway. May I have the key to the caves?
Sure. Here you go. Good luck to you.
Alright, thanks. I have to go now.
May the sap of his wisdom sustain you.
At this point, I pretty much have everything I need to take care of Harold's heart, but before I go down, I have one more thing I want to do.
So you're the outsider, huh? You seem nice to me.
At this point, you can speak to Sapling U to try and get an extra item for the end of the quest. Tell me about your god.
Oh, you mean Harold? He's really nice. Sometimes when I get really lonely, I go into the grove and talk to him. Sometimes I even curl up all cozy-like and sleep next to his root after I have a bad dream. I tell him what I'm scared of, and he tells me what he's scared of. It makes me feel better knowing I'm not the only one.
At this point, you either need to pass a speech check or have the Child at Heart perk. The Child at Heart perk is a guaranteed success, though. Tell me too, then I won't be scared either.
Aw, I never knew an outsider could be scared of anything. Harold told me that he's scared of fire. If fire ever got on him, it would burn him and Bob until they were all gone. That's why we keep the fires far away from him.
Oh, he's afraid of fire. Well, I suppose this confirms what he already told us. And the fact that he's a fucking tree! Anyway, I have to go now.
May the sap of his wisdom sustain you.
At this point, you also unlock a couple of extra dialogue options with Harold again. About those tree minders.
No, don't get me started on them. I'm liable to talk about them all day. It even drives poor old Bob crazy.
Even Bob? Jesus Christ, that's something. Which tree minder do you get along with the best?
Actually, the kid is the nicest one of all. Use her name. She sneaks in here sometimes and just lets me talk about stuff I wanna talk about. Bob really likes her too, 'cause she makes me happy.
Aw. Although this is pretty much the hint that you know will probably know something of Harold. How do the tree minders normally handle other outsiders?
Oh, you wouldn't believe how they handle them. They make them drink this gunk that Poplar makes. Sometimes they just go nuts and start running around. And sometimes when they wake up and see me, they run for the hills. I'll tell you, outsiders are almost as entertaining as the tree minders.
Thus confirming what I've already told you about the sap sometimes driving NPCs batshit insane. Anyway, now that I've finally covered all of that, let's get to the underground caverns already and wrap this up. These caverns are actually here because there used to be a mining town here before the Great War. You can actually learn this from branch tender Lyndon. I think he's a branch tender. His knowledge in this is explained by the fact that he used to be a Brotherhood of Steel outcast. Also, this corpse is a little worrying. I have my own little personal pet theory in that he did something very naughty and was thrown down here to the Mirelurk as a sort of really messed up execution. Although it's equally likely that he was just a normal branch tender, came down here, the Mirelurks killed him, and no one really retrieved the body. Over there is a Mirelurk King. I don't think we've seen them before, so I'm going to explain them now. They are not as tough as normal Mirelurks, Mirelurk Kings not being fully armoured. I think Mirelurk Kings also technically were muted from some other animal. However, what sets Mirelurk Kings apart is the fact that they can fire a sort of sonic blast that instantly cripples your head, and that's fairly problematic, so you might want to avoid that. Fortunately, they're fairly easy to take down, not to mention their head is a much larger target than it is for Mirelurks. There's some other dead bodies down here, and other skeletons, obviously left from before the Great War. I suppose this place is a fairly decent supply for Mirelurk meat as well. Mirelurk meat being a very good healing item in the game. Up here is something a little interesting as well. Probably someone from the pre-war, but looks like he was drinking and possibly shot himself. Or either that or he had the gun as self-defense. I'm not really sure which. Not sure why there's a bunch of bottle caps, but hey, more for me. Also, there's a skill book here. Looks like I didn't actually know that before. Stop picking! There we go. Moving right along, though, since we're actually pretty close to Harold's Heart. Oh yeah, I forgot that Mirelurk Hunters are down here as well. I'm sure you know Mirelurk Hunters. They're basically bigger, meaner Mirelurks. I know there's a Mirelurk here as well. Come on. Yeah, there you are. You're not fooling anyone, mate. Whoa. And there's the Sonic Blast I was talking about. I actually like the firing sound it makes. It's pretty interesting. You may be wondering why the fuck I'm diving down here, but it's because there's actually a mini nuke down here somewhere. Yeah, right here. Sitting on top of the rock. How convenient. Also dead raiders, so I don't know, maybe they tried to sneak in here, or again they were just thrown down here to sort of really messed up execution. I'm not really sure which. Either way, they're raiders, so I don't fucking care, and they met a very fitting end. There's another Mirelurk Hunter around this corner. Right. Interesting little note about this passage before I proceed. As I mentioned before, you can either cheat or lockpick your way through this gate. However, if you try and venture through the cave before you accept the Oasis quest, you will end up coming to a dead end at this point because it's blocked by Harold's roots. I'm not really sure why they spontaneously move out of the way when you accept the quest, but hey, there we go. Anyway, moving on from that little fact, coming up this ramp, you will probably start noticing a heartbeat sound. Allow me to say that this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. I'm not even kidding. Before I really go any further, I'm going to show off the other two choices you can do before I proceed with my own. I really don't like choosing to apply the sap to Harold's Heart. It just seems really selfish to me and defeats the purpose of Harold remaining alive. Anyway, when you exit the cave after applying the sap, Tree Father Birch will be there to congratulate you on keeping the Oasis safe and all that. After this, you can talk to Maple to get Maple's Garb, which has the best damage resistance to weight ratio in the game, if I'm not mistaken, which is perfect for stealth characters, although I'm not really a fan of how it looks. You can also speak to Cypress, who will give you a missile! Fuck yeah, totally worth it. This is the option I would be sticking with were it not for a few important things, namely the fact that the Capital Wasteland may never recover and gain plant life again without Harold. Let's face it, if I was going to be stuck for centuries in one place, not being able to do much, I'd pretty much want someone to kill me as well. Destroying Harold's Heart gives you the Bark Skin perk, which gives you an extra 5% damage resistance. I know that doesn't actually sound like much, but it is more useful than it sounds. Tree Father Birch will meet you outside the cave again, although this time his tone will be far more somber. You won't be able to gain any other rewards for this, with the exception of Yu's Bear Charm if you passed her speech challenge. Okay, I think I've messed around enough. Time for the one I am choosing. I will be applying Laurel's Liniment to accelerate Harold's growth. There are a couple of reasons why I'm doing this. For one, I believe that Harold still has a point in life, and without him, the Wasteland may never recover. Seriously, you can't really just ignore a gift like that. Not to mention, there's always the possibility that if he's really sure, you could always come back and kill him later. Well, okay, you can't really destroy his heart later, but, you know, in following logic, you always could. Now, this chamber actually has a couple of Mirelurk Kings and some other Mirelurks, or one more Mirelurk, so be very careful, because you have the potential to get hurt quite badly here, and I have no idea why a missile is lying there, but okay, I'll take it. I have no idea how that didn't hit me, but hey, I'll take it. Oh shit. It's usually just a normal Mirelurk, not a Mirelurk Hunter. This pool is a little bit tricky, but you're actually supposed to dive under the water at this deeper part here, which will lead you to the exit, which is an underwater door in Harold's Grove. I have no idea why the exit's there, but okay. Unlike the other 2 times, you will instead see Laurel, I think, and she will talk to you instead.
You've done a great deed this day, my friend. The gifts the Great One has bestowed upon us will now take mere decades to breach the confines of Oasis instead of centuries.
I was glad to do it. Oasis needs to be shared with the world.
In your short visit here, I can see you've learned much. That's a rare gift in these turbulent times. I believe there are a few tree minders who wish to speak to you before you depart. I think you'll find their appreciation quite rewarding. Good luck in all your journeys, my friend. I hope your time here has opened your heart as well as it opened your eyes.
At this point you can speak to Poplar and Lyndon, I believe. You can also speak to Harold.
So, it looks like you decided to do things their way, huh? How come?
You've become an important part of their life. Without you, they're lost.
So, they really need me that badly, huh? Yeah, I guess I never thought of it that way. Awfully selfish of me. Should we give them another chance? Herbert? Fine. I mean, Bob. I still think it's funny when I call him Herbert.
It's nice to see that he's kind of gotten a new lease of life as well.
Now don't get crazy on me and start wearing branches.
You won't have to worry about that, don't worry.
It's nice to have the pleasure of your company again.
Leaf Mother Laurel said you had a gift for me.
I've never known someone to show as much caring as you did towards us. It seems to be rare to run into anyone like that anymore. That's partly why I never returned to my former life after I found myself in this place. Allow me to present a piece of my past to you, friend. Perhaps it will serve you better than it served me.
Interesting fact, you actually won't have that confiscated if you have it in your inventory when you speak to Elder Lyons. I'm pretty sure he confiscates outcast armor anyway. What'll you do now?
I'll remain here and help in any way that I can. I owe them my life, and I intend to repay that debt until my last breath.
Quite a conviction you got there. I have to go now.
May the sap of his wisdom sustain you.
Hey, my second best friend in the whole wide world.
Second best friend? Well, that's nice. I hear you may have a gift for me?
Yeah, I think you're pretty swell for someone from out there. And you were really nice to me, too. I was gonna give this to my bestest friend, Harold, but he doesn't have pockets, the silly head. This is a charm that my parents gave me for my 5th birthday. It's really neat. Take it.
Use Bear Charm gives +1 to Charisma, if I remember correctly. Or, no, it increases speech by 10, because I'm dumb. What'll you do now?
I don't know. Maybe go play with Harold? I want to hear another one of his super swell stories.
Alright, run along now.
Goodbye, outsider.
And,
Hello again, outsider. I'm very happy to see you again, savior of Oasis.
Leaf Mother Laurel said that you may have a gift for me.
I somehow knew you'd be the one to make the changes that Leaf Mother Laurel desired. I helped to create the hoods that you see all tree minders wear. It's said that the cloth has a part of the Great One's spirit woven into the fibers. I present this to you as thanks. Wear this with pride and bring the message of renewal to all the corners of the wasteland.
Alright, I have to go now.
Farewell, outsider.
Goodbye. You can also ask her to see your future. I'm not really sure what that does, though. Poplar's HUD doesn't really do all that much, although it does give +10 to sneak and +1 to agility, which is pretty useful for a stealth character. Anyway, this marks the end of the Oasis quest. I would be doing extras. Oh, fine, screw it. Extras ahoy! A couple of bobbleheads this time around. The first one's at Orifu and is in Evan King's house, actually. It's the repair bobblehead. However, you're going to need to lockpick your way in there because for whatever reason, he doesn't have the key to his own house. It counts as trespassing though, so make sure you get a move on. The bobblehead's right to the left of the door. Why go down with the ship when you can try to fix it? Makes sense. Having gotten my sorry ass kicked out of Evan King's house, I then went to the west of Smith Casey's garage to Rockopolis. It's easier to find this place into the dark because of the light behind the boulder. This place is important for an unmarked quest you can do, but that's not why I'm here. Right to the left of Argyle's dead body over here is the unarmed bobblehead, which is what we are looking for. When words fail, there's always fists. I don't really agree with that motto very much, actually. Lastly, we're at the WKML broadcast station, or specifically looking for the sealed cistern for the explosive bobblehead. Now, the sealed cistern is a gigantic pain in the ass to find, so that's why I'm showing you exactly where it is. It's a little bit to the south and is kind of hidden behind this little outcropping right there. Or underneath, rather. Seriously, I was wandering around for so long wondering where the hell it was. I also recommend not bringing followers because they can block the passage. Sitting on the desk right there is the explosives bobblehead. The best way to solve a problem is to make it go away. Alternative title, when in doubt, C4! Sorry, I like Mythbusters too much. I think that about wraps it up for this time around. Thank you very much for watching, and join me again next time for more of this, I guess.